What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video. Coming to you guys today with yet another reaction. We got 10 WWE wrestlers that WWE refused to push after they got over organically. And we all know in WWE that's a big no-no, pretty much, and especially in the Vince era for sure. You can get over organically, and WWE is going to be petty, and they're just going to not do anything with you apparently, and stuff like that. And it sucks because it's like, if somebody gets over organically, WWE should be applauding that. WWE should be using that and trying to make them an even bigger star, if not even a star already. You know? So, I think there's been so many opportunities where a lot of people have gotten organically over, and WWE just want to be petty and not really do anything with them, not push them, not giving them any opportunities whatsoever. And I think one example of this is Zack Ryder. Because when he had the whole YouTube gimmick and he was like the internet champion, I was invested in that. And I'm not saying, you know, when he got over, they should already put the WWE Championship on him. No. I think you could have built him up to be a future star in the company for sure. Because I remember when he when he won the U.S. title from Dolph Ziggler in 2011, the crowd erupted, honestly. And I feel like they could have expanded upon that and made him an even bigger star while holding that, so when he does eventually drop it, that creates a sympathy factor, and then you can build upon that to potentially build towards something else. So I feel like he's definitely proven like he has what it takes, especially currently right now with him being Matt Cardona in the Indies. This guy is doing some of the best work of his career. The guy is definitely, hands down, the king of the Indies. And this is just an example. Like, some people can go out of WWE and prove that they are bigger than the machine. And he's definitely proven that, honestly, in my opinion. And I feel like if anybody is seeing that, they can make a big deal out themselves. Think of, like, all the people. This has nothing to do with it, but think of it, he's gonna be in a situation where it's like Drew and Cody, like they left and then they made themselves an even bigger star, and when they come back, they're gonna even be bigger than they were before. And I definitely think that is the case with someone like a Matt Cardona or a Zack Ryder. So I definitely hope that maybe if he does come back to the, they decide to push him, because the guy has the charisma and now he has the physique. Like, this guy has the tools, and he could cut a promo. So, I want to see, this video is brought to you by WrestleMania. So, we're going to see what 10 wrestlers he has to come up with.
When a wrestler gets over in WWE, they can do one of two things. They can either capitalize on the immense popularity and push that wrestler up the card and in turn reap the financial rewards, or they can completely ignore it and hope that the popularity dwindles down. Over the years, WWE have had a toxic habit of doing the latter, as a wrestler getting over on their own accord is seen as a taboo, and WWE traditionally aren't fans of a wrestler breaking out into the main event if they don't have it in their own creative vision. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 wrestlers WWE refused to push after they got over organically. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification
Make
bell
sure
for daily
y'all go
wrestling
subscribe.
videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, WrestleMania Shorts. Number 10, Rusev.
Oh boy.
Rusev was pushed relatively quickly.
Rusev definitely should have been a world champion now. This guy, especially when he had the whole Rusev Day gimmick, like Happy Rusev Day, like that got mega over. Like, people were chanting this. And people were like, even like when the show wasn't like on air, people were chanting this. And I feel like WWE just dropped the ball every time with this guy. Like, you had the opportunity to make him a white hot baby face, but didn't do it. Because, I mean, he was a good heel. Let's not get it twisted. Like, he was a good heel. But at the same time, he was just an even better babyface. And I hope him and being in AEW, they decide to push him. Because this guy is he's very good in the ring. He's funny. And he can cut him a promo. And he has charisma. Like, come on now. Like, he can be like that babyface that he doesn't mind dropping you if you get out of line. Like, that's the type of babyface we need. Like, that aren't afraid to, like, do certain things. You know what I'm saying? So, I hope AEW or Tony Khan or somebody, they decided to, do something with Miro or Rusev, do something with him. Make him, even if it's not the world championship, make him a tag team champion with somebody. I don't know, do something, because the guy deserves to be featured heavily weekly.
When he joined the main roster in 2014, but it was when Rusev began his Rusev Day persona when his popularity truly skyrocketed.
Yep.
Virtually overnight, Rusev became one of the most popular stars
and I
in
believe,
WWE. And
I know people, I think in 2018 he was in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Honestly, I know Braun Strowman ended up winning it, but I wouldn't have been surprised if WWE should have just called an audible and had Rusev win the Money in the Bank. Because he was like one of the more over at that time. Because I think the more over people in that Money in the Bank was him, Braun, and Samoa Joe. I feel like those were the main three that was getting over in that time period. And I feel like you could have, had him win the briefcase and build towards him cashing in. Just imagine him becoming a WWE champion or something. Like, people would have definitely gotten behind that.
When he joined forces with Aiden English, the Rusev Day act was complete. WWE needed to take full advantage of Rusev's newfound popularity. Yep. Rusev would often have the best-selling merchandise on WWE's shop, and his name was chanted throughout shows as the fans would stop at nothing to show support for the former US champion. WWE resented the fact that Rusev had managed to get over with the Rusev Day act.
I'm looking jealous, upset that I didn't get a shirt when I did.
On programming. WWE would act in such a petty manner as they made.
Oh no, I might still get one. I might still try to get one
without knowing the passcode.
Bizarre decisions such as editing Rusev Day chants out, and they would try to come up with a plan to get the Rusev Day chants to go away forever. Rusev, who now goes under the name of Miro in AEW, would discuss the great lengths that WWE went to diminish his popularity on Ryback's podcast, and this is what he had to say. They started putting my segments early so the Rusev chants could go away. There was a period when I wasn't even supposed to be at WrestleMania, the one that I lost to Jinder at the height of my career, Rusev Day. I was not on TV for 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Like, when he was at WrestleMania 34, and if Randy was going to drop the title, nobody else made sense of winning that title at a Mania than Rusev. Rusev should have won the US Championship at WrestleMania 34. But instead, you had him get pinned by Jinder of all people. Jinder, nobody cared for at this point. Nobody really wanted him winning the championship, and let alone being in the match. So, yeah, I feel like when they did that, I feel like it kind of made me feel like there was no more hope for Rusev in WWE. And then they tried to turn him heel again. And then have him join forces with Shinsuke and stuff like that. Like, they both were feuding for the US Championship probably like a month or two ago, and now they're a tag team. Like, come on now.
I'm sitting back listening to the people all day chanting Rusev Day. At this point, I went to see one of the writers and said, "This is not right. This is the first time I yelled at a writer, which I feel really bad about." He said, "We don't know what to do." I said, "What do you mean you don't know what to do? Just listen. Stay here and listen. They will tell you what to do. I'm busting my ass to get to the top level, and finally I'm getting close. Then they shoved me down, and I don't understand why, what I'm fighting for." Number 9, Fandango. When the Fandango gimmick first debuted on WWE TV, fans assumed it would be a short-lived character. The ballroom dancer persona didn't have too much depth, but when Fandango...
This is another one. And I feel like they tried to make something with Fandango. Because he did beat Chris Jericho in his first match. So I felt like when they did that and beating like a top-tier talent like that, who's accomplished so much in his career and stuff like that. So I felt like when they had him beat Chris Jericho at Mania, I feel like it just lets you know that they did have plans for him. But I don't know where they went wrong, because I don't know if I can honestly sit here and say I'd seen him as a world champion, but maybe a US or Intercontinental. And then, or a tag team. Like that I can see, but world championship, no. But mid-card, like, have him hold a U.S. championship, yeah, I can see that.
Fandango defeated Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 29. The fans did a complete 180 on Fandango. The next night on Raw, the fans hijacked the show by singing
Oh yeah,
Fandango's
people
theme
were
song throughout the
doing
show,
that
and
for
WWE would
sure.
coin the phrase
People love
Fandangoing.
doing that.
Vince McMahon evidently wanted Fandango to get over as a top heel in the company, and this was the complete opposite. The fans were turning Fandango babyface, and due to going against McMahon's vision, there was no doubt plans being put in motion to stop the Fandango hype train. There was creative put in place for Fandango to compete for the Intercontinental title at the Payback pay-per-view, but he suffered a concussion, taking him out of the match. When he returned, WWE failed to present him in a meaningful manner, despite the support still being there. Eventually, fans stopped caring, and it was hard to chant and cheer for someone who was barely being featured on WWE television. Number 8. Zack Ryder. The influence of Zack Ryder on the wrestling world can never be denied. Ryder was arguably the first wrestler to use social media sites such as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to elevate his career, and his hit YouTube show was so immensely popular and unique that fans gravitated towards Ryder's WWE character.
Like, honestly, I remember being a kid and I was watching this, and it just screamed like a guy that was really, like, he had the promo, like I said earlier. This guy had a passion for what he was doing and had a passion for trying to be at the best at what he does and helping him elevate to get to a level like that. And I can appreciate that, because it just goes to show there's more than one way to get to the top. There's more than one way of getting noticed. It's more than one way for get the fans behind you or to notice you. So he's definitely proved that right here.
Due to the popularity of his social media work, fans began to chant his name at WWE shows, and due to Vince McMahon not having a clue what Ryder was doing on social media, these chants were ignored for months. When the chants and demand to see Ryder became too noticeable for WWE to ignore, he would slowly be moved up the card, and he would even win the US title at the TLC pay-per-view in 2011. The problem was that WWE had clearly no plans to use Ryder in a meaningful role, and he quickly dropped the title to Jack Swagger. WWE then completely derailed the legitimacy and credibility of Ryder's character as he became a secondary character in the Kane vs. John Cena feud. WWE did everything they could to stop Ryder's popularity indefinitely, and the crazy thing is, all they had to do was feature Ryder in a substantial and engaging role and fans would have been satisfied. Number 7. Cesaro.
Ooh.
Time and time again during his WWE career, Cesaro looked to be...
Dude. God dang it, WWE. Cesaro should have been a world champion. This guy, in his entire career, only held the US and tag team. He never won the Intercontinental or World. And I understand why some people would sit here and make the argument of maybe because, you know, he wasn't the best on the microphone. Well, okay, he was great in the ring, though. He was very good and engaging in the ring. He could have been like a guy that didn't talk, but let the stuff he did in the ring do the talking for him. And if you really wanted him to talk, you could have got him a manager. You literally got him with Paul Heyman after you had him with Zeb Coulter. There was no excuse. You could have had Paul Heyman do the talking for him. Paul Heyman is one of the best talkers that there is, especially on the manager side of things. So you could have had him do the talking for Cesaro and let him do the in-ring work. I don't get it.
Be on the brink of greatness, but WWE always seemed reserved in pulling the trigger on Cesaro as a main eventer. Cesaro's popularity took off in 2014 as his work in The Real Americans made fans notice his insane strength and his stellar in-ring work. WWE would, to their credit, put over Cesaro in a huge way at the WrestleMania 30 Battle Royal, but instead of allowing...
There's one thing you need to do before
and I thought this, when he helped won the Battle Royal, this was going to be the start. And then the next night after WrestleMania, you had him align himself in being a Paul Heyman guy. Usually when somebody aligns themselves being a Paul Heyman guy, it usually means big things are in your future. Big things are about to happen. Why didn't WWE just keep him with Paul Heyman? I don't get it. You had him be in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Battle Royal. Not the Battle Royal, but the Money in the Bank ladder match for the WWE Championship. You could have had him in that, and then you built towards something else. You could have had him win the Intercontinental Championship, and then build to him becoming a world champion. God dang it, WWE, what did you
As a
do?
babyface, they decided to keep him as a heel and they paired him with Paul Heyman, which was an unnatural fit. It was made clear when Vince McMahon appeared on Stone Cold's podcast that he was really
And Vince
Cesaro's.
McMahon, bro, why would you go on there and bury your talent like this? You're supposed to be making your talent like bigger than life superstars, but you go on a podcast and run down some of your talent instead of like literally on live television, mind you, and instead of having a simple meeting with them and just saying, okay, well, I don't see this in you, but if you want me to see this in you, we can do this. Like, it's an easy fix. It's a very easy fix, Vince. Why are you making things complicated when they shouldn't be in the first place?
Supporter, as his comments completely buried one of WWE's most promising stars. He's not connecting yet, and we hope he will. He doesn't quite have the charisma, he doesn't quite have the verbal skills as well, and maybe because he's Swiss, I don't know in terms of the European style, but those are the big things that he's lacking. The audience needs to care about you, they need to be able to feel your presence, you need to be able to project that. He's an extraordinary physical talent, extraordinary, but at the moment, and hopefully he'll get it, he lacks it. Unfortunately, over the next few years, this belief of McMahon would remain in place as Cesaro would stay over with the fanbase, but McMahon would always hold back on making Cesaro a major player. Number 6. Bad News Barrett. The Bad News Barrett character was something completely different.
Bad News Barrett, or Wade Barrett, or whatever you want to call him. He could have been a World Heavyweight Champion. And I believe he was scheduled to win, I think, a Money in the Bank ladder match, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think what really happened is John Cena. I'm gonna be honest. I think when he had when he's part of the Nexus, and I feel like all of them were scheduled to do something big. And I feel like for Wade Barrett's sake, I think he was at one point going to win a World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE title. But after, John Cena doing his backstage politicking and everything, like when it was Team Cena versus Team Nexus, and that storyline ended, it pretty much diminished everything about Wade Barrett as far as being a main event player. And then he went on to win the Intercontinental Championship, and I think that was the only title that he won. I think he may have won the tag titles, but I'm not sure. I don't think he did. I think he's won the Intercontinental Champ. I think he's like a 5-time champ.
To what had been seen on TV before, and it was finally the role that Barrett looked like he was born to deliver. The character was engaging, hilarious, and the best thing that was when Barrett stepped into the ring, his in-ring work could perfectly match the outlandish persona. This gimmick was incredibly popular by WrestleMania season in 2014, and WWE did the right thing in allowing Barrett to become Intercontinental Champion. Eventually, Vince McMahon realized that he wasn't happy with how over Barrett was with the gimmick, and he remembered that the gimmick was supposed to be booed. Instead of doing the logical thing and turning Barrett babyface, they decided to change Barrett's gimmick completely, and they had Barrett portraying a generic and stale King gimmick following his 2015 King of the Ring victory. Number 5. Luke Harper. 2017 was the beginning of a seemingly break.
First of all, I just want to say R.I.P. Luke Harper, R.I.P. Whitney Rotunda. But man, they should have called an audible and made it a triple threat at WrestleMania 33. Bray Wyatt defending the WWE Championship against Luke Harper and Randy Orton, and had Luke Harper be the one to become the WWE Champion. I think people were getting behind him at this point. I think a lot of people wanted to see him be part of that match and potentially win that championship. And it sucks that we never did get it, because this guy was talented.
Out year for Luke Harper. Harper was involved in a storyline with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, and organically, Harper had become one of the most popular babyfaces on SmackDown. At one stage, it even looked like Harper was going to be involved in the WWE title match at WrestleMania 33. The fan reactions to Harper kept getting louder and louder, and there was a major push on social media to see Harper get the WrestleMania nod. According to Harper, during an interview on Talk Is Jericho, when he botched a spot in the Battle Royal, it gave WWE the justification to stop his push. Number 4. LA Knight. WWE made one of the smartest decisions imaginable.
So just because he accidentally botched a move. And here's the thing. People make mistakes all the time. And then you just use that for justification not to do anything with him. Like, really? Really? But I swear, I'll tell you this right now. If it was Roman Reigns, they wouldn't be saying anything. They would have just kept going with it. I'm telling you now. If it was anybody else that was an actual big star, they would have ignored it. But just because the fans want to see somebody gets pushed, like, really? Nah. I can't.
When they allowed LA Knight to ditch the Max Dupree persona, the Dupree character was failing to show off the best version of LA Knight, and when the LA Knight character was back on TV, fans instantly connected with him. Thanks to the outstanding mic work and unbelievable charisma, LA became a fan favorite in early 2023, but WWE were hesitant to push him. He would be left off WrestleMania, and then it looked like he was going to win the 2023 Money in the Bank ladder match, but this also failed to come to fruition. It's been reported that WWE will be pushing LA Knight, and there are plans in place to capitalize on his popularity, yet it looks like LA Knight is getting over on his own has angered some of the top people within WWE. Number 3. Dolph Ziggler. There have been points in Dolph Ziggler's career where the fans have chosen him as the next top guy, but
should have been a
WWE
WWE champion.
Other ideas. When Ziggler won the world title in 2013, this was the payoff to years of Ziggler being beloved by
the best time to make him a WWE champion, in my opinion, maybe 2011 or 2017, maybe 2017 or 2018. I think those were like the best years for him to become a WWE champion, because everything else, I just don't know. When The Rock came back, it just wasn't likely. Brock had it, wasn't likely. When Seth had it, it was a chance, and that was in 2015. 2016, you had Ambrose, you had AJ, and you had Roman, and you had Seth. So I don't think there was a chance you could have done that. But 2017, you had John Cena. Then you had Bray Wyatt, RIP. Then you had Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal. You could have had him face Jinder Mahal and become WWE champion. I'm still going to keep standing by it. Anybody but Jinder should have been WWE champion. Nobody cared.
The audience, when Ziggler suffered a concussion, it gave WWE a good enough reason to bring Ziggler's main event push to an end. The year after Ziggler's world title debacle, Ziggler would once again become one of the most popular stars in the company after he was a sole survivor at the 2014 Survivor Series event. This should have led to a huge main event push for Ziggler, but the best they could do for him was a mid-card feud over the Intercontinental title. WWE fans have become accustomed to being let down when it comes to Ziggler, and this likely explains why these days the former two-time world champion often receives zero reaction when he makes his entrance. Number 2. Rob Van Dam. One of the breakout stars of the Invasion storyline was ECW legend Rob Van Dam. His daring...
Hey there, it's Des with T-Mobile, and today we're checking out the
he became a WWE champion.
The Google Pixel 7a.
So,
offense as well as his likable personality had made fans fall in love with him, and in 2002 there was a blatant opportunity for WWE to crown a new top babyface in the company. RVD was without question the most popular babyface on Raw, and when he collided with Triple H at the Unforgiven pay-per-view, there was a strong argument to be made that RVD should have won the world title. Unfortunately, WWE went in a different direction and ultimately kept RVD away from the main event scene, deciding instead to place him in a tag team with Kane
this was during the whole Reign of Terror, and that it's like we're living it all over again with Roman Reigns being the champion.
Giving him a run in the mid-card in 2003. This was such a wasted opportunity, as during this time, WWE needed legitimate main event stars, and RVD was exactly what they needed. RVD would discuss why WWE didn't take advantage of his organic popularity during an appearance on the Angle podcast, and this is what he had to say.
I just heard recently that one of the reasons I wasn't pushed was that they heard that Hunter offered to take me aside and help me with promos, and that I turned him down. And I was like, I think that did happen. And the more I think about it, I totally remember that happening. I never thought about that probably in the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, but I totally remember that happening, and I didn't even realize it was that significant of a thing.
And number 1,
wow.
Daniel Bryan. The growth of Daniel Bryan in
Wow. Just because he didn't really want advice and really wanted to do things on his own, Hunter did politicking, and that caused him not to become world heavyweight champion. That sucks. That sucks. I'm not gonna even lie to you. That just sucks, man. And now we got Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson. The guy, they refused to push him, but they had no choice but to push him. Let's be honest.
WWE was fascinating. Bryan started off in the company as someone who got decent enough ovations, but when he turned heel during his first world title reign, everything changed. Bryan's character work was outstanding, and his yes chant took off with thousands of fans on a weekly basis imitating Bryan's chant. WWE would attempt to transfer Bryan's growing popularity onto Sheamus at WrestleMania 28 when they had Bryan drop the title to him in just 28 seconds. But this backfired on WWE as Bryan became even more popular, and the fans weren't going to stop showing their support for one of the most well-rounded performers in the company. WWE then had the idea to move Bryan away from the world title picture and place him in a pairing with Kane. This in turn made Bryan even more likable and endearing, as his work with Kane was some of the finest work of the respective era. It was so funny, it was so charming, and it's aged extremely well. WWE then finally decided to give Bryan a run as a top guy in the summer of 2013, but a few months into this experiment, Vince McMahon had the brazen idea to attempt to transfer Bryan's popularity onto the Big Show, as Big Show would obnoxiously begin to do the yes chants. Thankfully, WWE fans weren't buying it, and the push to see Bryan as the #1 guy continued. Fast forward to WrestleMania 30, and before CM Punk walked out of WWE, Bryan was going to yet again face Sheamus at the event. However, due to the aforementioned Punk walkout, as well as a less than stellar response to WWE's plan to have Randy Orton vs Batista main event WrestleMania, Bryan would be added to the main event. They would then crown Bryan in one of the most satisfying moments in WWE history, and everyone's hard work was worth it. And it just goes to show that fans should never give up showing support to their favorite wrestlers. But there you have it, folks. 10 wrestlers WWE refused to push off.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I do believe if CM Punk did stick around, he was going to be the one to be in that triple threat and be in the Daniel Bryan spot going into Mania. So, now, I think he said that if, I believe he said it was going to be Sheamus and Daniel Bryan, but I don't think people would have wanted to see that. People would have definitely wanted to see him in that spot. So, it's very interesting to see how a lot of things would have been different if certain things didn't happen, or if certain people didn't want to be stupid and make stupid calls and stuff like that. But that's neither here or there. But that is the end of the video, you guys. Make sure you super kick that like button, Superman punch that post notification button, and spear that subscribe button. We're on the road to 700. Comment down below. Let me know which wrestler on this list you wish would have been pushed even more. Which person on this list, or even come up with somebody that was on this list that you would love to see be pushed or have been pushed even more in WWE and stuff like that. I want to know what you guys got to say in the comment section down below. I love having dialogues with you guys, but I appreciate you guys kicking with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.